You have probably heard that when you are a franchise owner, you are in business for yourself, but not by yourself. On this show, we will explore national brand marketing solutions as well as reputation marketing for franchises. Join us for this exciting discussion from actual franchise business owners when we come right back to the Co-Marketing Masters Show.
Part-time job, full-time hustle, all-time Shiro to all of us. You nurture, we listen. You teach, we thrive. You lift our spirits, but we've got to lay down the truth. It's time for you, our Shiro, to stretch for the stars. A free online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Start saving more for retirement so you can feel prepared and live your life to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org/Shiro.
Welcome back to the Co-Marketing Master Show, where we talk all things marketing and business. I'm your host, Darrell C. Spears, and I am joined today by Yemisi Akinneye, franchise owner of Mathnasium, Clement Troutman, franchise owner of Tropical Smoothie Cafe, and Carnell Newkirk, franchise owner of Jerry's Subs and Pizza. Welcome to the show. We're so excited to have you guys on the show with us.
Thank you.
We're excited about the show, marketing strategies as it relates to franchises. But before we get started, we always want to start the show a little bit about what it's like in terms of statistics and what people are seeing out there. So we're going to talk about some statistics for franchises in terms of how it relates to marketing. Sounds good?
Absolutely.
All right, let's talk about that. 8 minutes. Every business day, there are 8 new franchise starting. 1 out of 12 businesses in the United States are a franchise. $250,000, that's the average cost of a franchise. The average contract is 10 years in length. McDonald's, of course, happens to be the largest franchise. And this is what really has jumped out at me. 50% of all retail sales in the U.S. come from a franchise. So that is a huge number. When you talk about franchises, you think it would be just a small portion of what's sold out there, but that's half of the economic revenue that's coming in for retail. Sure. Wow. So I'm so excited to have you guys on the panel with us tonight. Just talk a little bit about franchises, because I know as 50%, there are a lot of people out there that want to hear your knowledge. So Yemisi, just share a little bit about, again, your business, Mathnasium, and what do you think are some of the advantages of having that franchise and that national brand for your marketing?
Absolutely. Franchising allows you to build upon the reputation of the business, right? So I had someone say, why not just open up your own tutoring center? And I said, well, who are you? No one knows you, right? And so when you have Mathnasium or whatever franchise behind you, you have that national or international, for us, international backing to kind of back you along the way. So yeah, that's one huge advantage for us.
Excellent. Now, when you look at the monetary side of that in terms of spending, how does that play a role in your franchise fee in terms of your cost for marketing?
Yeah, so for Tropical Smoothie Cafe, approximately 3% of the marketing budget, sales is attached to the marketing budget, that's from the national level when it comes to national branding. But likewise, too, there's another 1 to 2% at the local marketing level as well, to help with localize for your particular areas. So there is some set asides, if you will, targeted directly for marketing to help get the brand awareness out there, at least particularly on a national level as well as on a local level.
That's excellent. Yeah. And so we think about the marketing and spending for marketing, Ron. Do you see any disadvantages of having to use that resources for your national marketing as opposed to directly for the store?
Well, the disadvantage would be that the store is a local unit, and therefore it has clientele that are localized to that particular unit, whereas the national brand is just for the general marketing of the company itself. But I think that the disadvantage would be that you can't have it keyed upon your particular area. Say, like if you're in an area that has schools and other things of that nature, you can't key it on that particular segment of your store area.
That's great, and I didn't even think about that. So when you think about your franchises, every franchise is not the same, even though it's branded. So do you have control over what items you market in terms of special services or special discounts? You know, can you decide on that as opposed to the national office or headquarters?
Yeah. So for Tropical Smoothie Cafe, for us, when it comes to having a standardized brand, we really follow a model, if you will, that's duplicatable. So it's pretty much standardized across the country. Sometimes we'll have what we call limited time offerings or specialized offerings, if you will, but usually when they break them out, it's across the whole system as a whole. So in other words, if I wanted to have something unique or like a smoothie with a certain product or like creatine or something like that, if it's not something that's not offered for all the cafes, then it wouldn't be included in ours. So it has to be standardized for the most part, because what happens with the franchise, in our particular franchise, is that when the customer goes into that business, if they're getting a smoothie, it should be an avocado, whether it be in Texas or in Maryland. It should be the exact same product. That's
awesome. And I'd like to ask you, Yemisi, you're unique, very unique. You're talking about mathnasium. It's different from I would say a product. You're more on the service side. So is marketing in terms of the service side different because you have to really sell your expertise and selling information as opposed to a product?
Absolutely. We have to sell our success. For us being the only mathnasiums in Prince George's County, that was a huge sell because folks were like, who are you? What are you? Where'd you come from? What does mathnasium mean? Is this a gym? Yes, we have to really be intentional with how we market because, again, we're selling our success stories. And you kind of touched, with us is a little different with, for instance, you have to, creatine can only be for all of the tropical smoothies, right? For us, we do like Chick-fil-A nights at our mathnasiums, but not all mathnasiums does that. So they give us a lot of flexibility with different events we want to have. As long as you're representing the brand well, they're okay with you doing whatever, within reason, within reason.
That's excellent. And you mentioned your name. How hard or easy was it for that name to become more recognized? Being new in this area?
It's still difficult. 4 years and we still have folks saying, we never knew you were here. And I live right across the street. They'll say, I live right there, see my house? And I never knew you were here. So that tells us we still have more marketing to do because we're not as recognizable as some of our competition out there.
Oh, okay, excellent. And Ron, I know Jerry Subs and Peace is well recognized. So what are some of your best marketing tools that you use to grow your business?
Well, we have a number of techniques that we use. We use the internet for some marketing. We also we have a slip that the customers can fill out, and they will join what we call our internet crew, where they can get discounts on the food they have. If they go online and if they fill these forms out, they can get some discounts for there. And also, we can have discounts as far as if they have some functions that they might want to have in their business, whatever.
That's excellent, excellent. And for you, sir, Mr. Troutman, I know your business, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, you guys went from new kids on the block to like number 2, 3, 1 in the nation in a matter of months. So how did that happen in terms of what tools did you use? Did you do ground roots, marketing. How did that happen so quickly?
Well, there was what they somewhat call a perfect storm, Darrell. Whereby first of all, there was a need. There was a need for what we have for the community. And to satisfy that need, though, we had the national brand marketing, already in place. But likewise, there was a major effort on the localized marketing as well. The difference being with Maryland being a new territory, still understanding what a tropical smoothie cafe was took some getting used to, if you will. We had to get out there. So we did a lot of sampling. We did a lot of promoting, a lot of promotions. We also have technology as well with things like geofencing. Mechanisms whereby if you have a cell phone, or using Yelp and in different ways, and you're using social media to get the word out, if you will. But the biggest and the most effective way, honestly, is the old-fashioned way of word of mouth, and empowering others to go and tell the story, because first of all was the discovery of Tropical Smoothie Cafe, and second was, we didn't know you also had food. And then that turned and it kept snowballing like that. So, it was a list of items that all came together in almost like a perfect storm for us, and still happening. So
that's awesome, and you sort of started leading into what we're going to talk about in the second part of the show in terms of the community involvement and just how you use that in terms of building your reputation. So that's really important. For Yemisi, in terms of there's the marketing side, and then there's your target market that you're going after. How did you guys, when you think about your headquarters, do they actually help you define who your target market is? Is that set before you decide to go into the franchise? How did you guys work that out?
Yeah, they give you guidelines, right? But for every territory, you have to do your due diligence as well and figure out who your target market is. So we are actually still, we're almost there. We're finding that we really have to pinpoint our parents and explain to them we're not a quick fix, we're not a bandage, we're not a temporary solution. It's going to take some time. And as Mr. Troutman and I were talking about earlier, we're in a society where folks want things quick. They want my kid to go from an F to an A in 2 months. And it's like, no, that's not going to happen. So it's really pinpointing the parents that understand that this is a process and it's going to take some time. So. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, this has definitely been a good start of our discussion. I know there's a lot going on in the franchise world in terms of now we're moving into technology and social media. So I definitely want to jump on that a little bit too, and we come back to talk about that. But I really want to get into how you leverage the local community, because even though you have the national brand, there's a local side there that's really important. And it's not just about giving, it's also about giving out as well. So that is great information. Let's take a short break and continue the conversation about franchise marketing when we come back. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with you.
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes, and you come to mine. This is it. First impression. My way in. But here's the thing. Can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Can one piece of paper really tell you my whole story? Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or how anytime there was an opportunity, I was the first one to step up, because I wasn't gonna let my life, my circumstances dictate who I was gonna become. And all of that determination, the commitment, the drive, that's me. And that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume, and discover new ways to develop great talent like me.
Welcome back to the Co-Marketing Master Show. I am your host, Darrell Spears, here with franchise owners Yemisi Akinneye, franchise owner of Mathnasium, Clement Troutman, franchise owner of Tropical Smoothie Cafe, and Carnell Newkirk, franchise owner of Jerry Subs and Pizza. We are learning a lot today about marketing solutions specific to franchise businesses. In addition to the national franchise marketing solutions, each franchise owner should invest in reputation marketing and build their local community visibility, where we discuss what that means. But first, let's remind our audience of some franchise statistics shared at the beginning of the show. So again, we talked about the statistics and how important they are in terms of understanding the impact of franchises. And we shared a little bit about that every 8 minutes, there's a franchise created. We talked about the cost. You know, the average cost is $250,000 to start a franchise. We talked, what I think is most important is that 50% of all retail sales come from franchise owners. So that's, again, so important. But I want to shift a little bit for this segment and talk a little bit about your community involvement and how that impacts your reputation and how important that is. Because when we think about marketing, it's not necessarily about you, it's about the whole organization, your employees, you know, how you impact community, outreach. A lot of times folks don't even get a chance to see you guys, you're behind the scene. So talk a little bit, Mr. Troutman, about how you think about helping the community and giving back to community, and how do you think about that in terms of your employees and how they approach customers that come into the store?
Absolutely. So when it comes to the particular Tropical Smoothie Cafe brand, the first opportunity we saw was to be able to serve the community with healthier food options, healthy food and smoothie options for the community, you know. And so using that brand and that leverage, it also created other opportunities as well to touch other elements of service, like creating jobs for the community, you know, and likewise too, giving people a place to go locally, if you will, if they wanted to make a change in eating habits and behaviors for a better quality of life, if you will, you know. So, and likewise too, when it comes to on the local front, I'm reaching out with outreach to the local schools and support organizations, if you will, that collectively we can look to make it just a better community overall, if you will, you know, and recirculate those dollars in the community for healthier options and just a better quality of life across the board.
Excellent,
Yeah,
excellent,
so.
excellent. Ron, I want to sort of ask a question in terms of the reputation side of it. What are some of the things that you guys do at Jerry Subs and Pizza to enhance your reputation? And what I mean by that is getting feedback from your customers on how well you're doing, your services. And I'll ask both of you guys just how you get that feedback and use that to market yourself.
Well, one thing that we have going is that we have some forms that customers can fill out, and they can indicate on there how we're doing. We also go out to schools, and we sort of supplement some of the functions they have as far as the kids who are doing well in school. So if the school may have pizza day for students who made the honor roll, we try to supplement what they're doing there in order to sort of like give money back to them. And also we try to give other things that will help out as far as the communities go, as far as going. We help some of the students in high school. We hire students that are, each high school student has to have so many hours of work. So we hire students and we work with the high school near us to try to help the students in their job part of the job part that they need to have for graduation from high school.
And it really helps your reputation in terms of community involvement.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
What do you guys do at Yemisi in terms of building your reputation and getting and using that feedback for your good services that you do?
Absolutely. So we are mentors to one of the high schools in the area, and so this is our 3rd year now. We started when they were in 9th grade. Now they're in the 11th grade, so once a month we go out there and we're part of the program. It's the school puts it on. It's the P-TECH program, and so we've offered some of our math tutoring to some of these high school students with no charge. We also we're starting a Adopt a School initiative We're not sure how we're going to structure it, but we spoke to them, and their goal is just to increase their math scores by 1 to 2%. And I'm like, 1 to 2%? So we want to see how we can help them do that, and hopefully it'll be way more than 1 to 2%. Another thing we do is we like to talk to our students when they first come and then when they're done, and just gauge the difference, and then we interview them and we say, how was your experience thus far? What colleges have you gotten into? Some of their goals are just to be able to play a specific sport, and they have to maintain a certain GPA or math score. And so we like to hear it from them themselves, and then we use that as well to get more students in. So yeah. I think I mentioned the Chick-fil-A nights also that we do.
Absolutely.
We had a good partnership with the Vista Gardens location and the one on 301, and we will go out and offer free math tutoring sessions, and parents will come in and we'll be there like 3 to 4 hours. I'll take the staff, and just free math tutoring. So
okay. Well, I want to sort of hear from each one of you guys, as there are future franchise owners out there that really want to get into franchising. Share with them what their expectations should be in terms of marketing for their franchises. What does the headquarters say in terms of expectations? We talked a little bit about that during the break. And what do you think they should be thinking about in terms of investing, in terms of revenue for marketing for their franchise? Now I'll start with you, sir.
So on this one, again, if you're considering going into business as a franchise owner, the great news is that there's a template out there already there for you to have a guide. But in and of itself, it's not absolute because there are no guarantees, right? But it does give you a great guide to start the process. It's up to you as an owner to decide how you want to grow it in the confines of the expected, if you will, opportunities there for you, and to grow it exceeding it, if you will. In other words, for us, if the goal is to serve an annual unit volume of, say, 700,000 for a cafe, it's up to the franchise owner to decide whether or not they want to shoot for the 700,000, or do they have goals greater than that to exceed it. So just because it says 700,000, that don't mean you're locked to doing 700,000, if you will. You can exceed the goal, if you will, depending on your approach and your creativity with the brand, if you will. So there are opportunities there to grow beyond, even if there's a guide to follow. And with that being said, the revenues can go with that as well, as we talked about.
Absolutely, that's awesome. And I know you're going above and beyond. So
we shoot for it.
Excellent. So what do you think some of the expectations they should look for in terms of a new franchise owner?
Marketing-wise, don't be afraid to spend marketing dollars. I've spoken to so many people where they come with a plan and it's zero for marketing. They think it's automatic, it's going to be word of mouth, and there's so much more to that. You definitely have to invest in marketing. Don't be afraid to collaborate also with other owners in your area or outside of your area. I speak to owners in different states because I want to hear what are they doing differently. What are the best practices? What's working for you? Our franchisor has employee-owned franchises, so it's run by headquarters. And so I oftentimes would ask them, what are you guys doing? Because they're kind of like our guide, they're doing it one way and they're doing great. Yeah. And so I kind of use them as a guide. But again, don't be afraid to collaborate, and also talk with your competitors. I think it's great to hear, what are they doing over there? What are you doing over here? You guys, if you can come together, if not, fine. It shouldn't be I'm here, you're there kind of thing. We all can kind of come together and, see what'll work best for all of us. So, yeah.
Excellent.
As far as Jerry Salsa Pizza, we have to look at, if someone wants to go out and start their own business in this sense, the one thing they have to look at is how they're going to create the volume that they want. When you go in and do your business model, you'll look at it and says, in this particular segment, I think I can come up with the numbers of this nature, and then you have to put the strategies behind that in order to reach that. And the strategies shouldn't be limited to what the corporation has said. You have to work it out with the corporation, of course, to make sure that you're following the guidelines that they have. But in most cases, the corporations have open policy in terms of what you can do, although you're following basically the basic brand. So you need to look at different marketing strategies. And as far as for the restaurant business, one of the strategies that you also have to incorporate in that is just walking through the neighborhoods and putting stuff out. That type of marketing, because that pays off considerably. Because I've done some statistics on that show you, for like if you give out 5 menus, you're going to get back at least 1 or 2 customers from that menu that you gave out. So even though you shouldn't just limit it to what the corporation has set up for you, but you should also look at some of the old-fashioned methods of just walking through the neighborhoods.
That's a great idea. I mean, again, that goes to community, where there's nothing wrong with knocking on the door and talking and really getting involved in that. I'm always going back to Mr. Troutman. You're walking his store at any time, and he's in there sitting down talking to somebody during the business hours, which is huge. I think one final thing we want to sort of tie in, again, we're in this technology world, social media and all of that. How effectively are you using social media to brand your franchise? Has it been effective for you, Akinneye?
I'll admit, I'm not. I know I said 2020 is the year. I hated social media, and so speaking to a coach, she's alerted me that I really need to be on social media. So I know, folks are doing great with social media marketing. Maybe you can give insight on that.
You never arrive at social media. That's the thing. It's an infinite, right? It's infinite, right? So you'll never master it all, but there's always room for improvement.
Absolutely.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Right? Because in our case, like I was mentioning earlier, we have concepts of geofencing, right? That based on your cell phone, that they can build digital barriers around locations and notify them that, hey, something's in your area. There's a Waze app out there. The Waze app, if we sit right on I-95, right, the exit. So we see customers from New York, from Maine to Florida, traveling the corridor. And if they come through and they have a Waze app up, we'll pop up as they come by exit 13. You see if they're looking for lunch, So that's another way of using digital media, right? Okay. Exactly. And lastly, with Yelp, the Yelp app as well. So we incorporate those, but we still got a ways to go as we're working with others to help us figure it out. So.
Okay, excellent. And we got a couple of minutes, and this is a yes or no answer to you guys. I know with the influx now of Uber delivery and all that good stuff, are you taking advantage of that? Is that something that you think franchise owners should talk about?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that,
yes.
Nope. My kids,
A little.
Okay, yeah, because I think that's important. So we've touched on quite a bit. I know it's a lot that we haven't covered, but I think you guys have really shared a lot in terms of helping those future franchise owners. And the discussion today has really given us insight to franchise marketing and is really helpful information for, I think, future franchise owners. So especially for anyone exploring franchises as a business option, regretfully, we are out of time. We want to thank our guests, our sponsor, A. Blake Enterprises of social media and marketing and training. We want to join us next time as we learn more about how to master your business. I am your host, Darrell Spears. My co-host, Kathleen Driver, is behind the scenes doing an excellent job for us. Thank you, Kathy. And thanks to our awesome crew. Until next time, from all of the co-marketing masters, keep your marketing in motion.